Good morning, everybody, and this is your DAX day trade setup for today. So, just looking at the 8-hour, this trend line is pretty much broken, good and proper. But as I said yesterday, is it a trend line, or is it just a flag that is broken to the downside? And this would have been the target area anyway, where we're sitting at the moment, and this is roughly at 14,250. So that would have been the target area on the flag anyway. So, my view right now is get rid of it. Look at this as a consolidation. Look at the oscillators, they're grouping nicely on the 8-hour. Just have a look at the daily, and you can see a lot of confusion here. Tails, and now you've got buyers coming in here. Look at this on the oscillators, they are separating quite nicely. This setup is still something that you need to be very, very conscious of. This is not looking like a top. Okay, this is looking like stretching for support, and we're in a zone here. There's a little bit just below that there. So we're in a zone here. We've got this zone where you can look to the left. You can see there's been a lot of buyers coming in off that. We've tried to find support there. We've also tried to find resistance there, but we've got above it. Now we're sort of hovering inside this zone. So there is still a much juicier target to the downside, which still makes a lot of sense to me, and that is 13,990. That is the previous breakout. It has not been tested. You can see it was good resistance there, and if you look to the left, it was support. It has been attempted at resistance, and we can go back in time here, and you can see it was attempted as resistance there. Found support there, and get the picture. So that is what we need to pay attention to. Now bear in mind as well that we are above all the moving averages. Look at the crossovers now on the daily. So all the moving averages have crossed over at the moment. So for me at the moment, we need to just pay attention to what's in the charts, and there is a bit of confusion. If you look at the 3-hour, see my oscillators are grouped at the downside. They have almost crossed over. One of them has, the other one's about to cross over. I want them both above the 20 before getting too excited. We're off the 155 EMA at the moment. The bearish view is this crossover. So that is still in play. But now if we get down to the hour, and we've obviously looked at this on, 2 days ago, and that was the opportunity that we are now in a bearish trend, which we are below the moving averages on the 1 hour. But looking at the higher time frames, obviously this little bearish trend is starting to come to an end, so it's sort of running out of steam. So for me at the moment, we need to pay attention to this 141.96 and 142.47 area, 46 area. This is where the bigger levels are. So ideally, we want to be above this one here, so that would be 114.245. Now, if we just drop down to the 15 minutes, have a look at what happened yesterday. Chaos. We did attempt to get to this level, like I said yesterday, but if I just fine tune it, which again I always say, always keep 2 or 3 levels in. So that was the level we were looking at yesterday, and that should have been the other level that we were paying attention to. And then you can see there, inside bar, actually not even an inside bar, that's a piercing pattern. You can see we gapped up a little bit, then came down and closed below the half of the previous bar. So that is inside bar, but a piercing pattern as well. Always a good signal. As soon as you saw that, you could have jumped in straight there, stop above it, and then you would have been aiming for this level here. And you would have got there in 10 bars. So within an hour and a bit, you would have been there. Or within 2 hours, should I say. So that was the trade. That's 102 points for like 32 points risk. That's just kind of the beauty about these setups on the lower time frames. Right, so looking at this right now, 50-minute, we are still in a downward trend. Oscillators grouping to the upside, so wouldn't be too surprised to see something like that. A bounce off 14 to 66, and you'd be looking for one of these two levels here. So either 14,247 or 14,196. Not a decent, not a decent setup as far as I'm concerned. This is too rangy right now. So we formed a big range yesterday, and even if you actually drop down to like a 5 minute, you've got that time. I know a lot of people coming, well, I suppose in South Africa, a lot of people going on holiday with our summer holidays coming up. So it does give you the time. But if you look at this in the 5 minutes, above and below the moving averages, nothing really to set you up. This was the only opportunity we had, and that was at the market open. Just after the market open was there. You can see 2 pin bars, and then the break closed below it on this bar. So jump in there, stop up there, 20 points, and you're aiming for there. Anyway, so today, if you've got time, I would be watching the 5 minutes, because if we do get a crossover of these moving averages, you see we were in a squeeze yesterday, and now obviously with the low volumes and Asian session, now we've opened up. But I'd be watching a couple of areas here, and get above this area here at 14291. Then we're looking for the top of the range at 14,369. But if we get above the moving averages and we hold above the moving averages, that's another story, because then that could translate into the 50-minute and then translate into the hour. But for now, the trend is down, so I'd just be very wary because of the sideways motion. I can't see us dropping further than this 14,196, or let's just say 14,200. I really can't see us dropping lower than that just yet. So we may sort of come back into this area, bounce off, come back and hit it, and then bounce off it for a move back up. But if we start getting above this zone that I've given you here, which is the current high of the day at 14,291, which is probably the real market close yesterday, if we get above there and build a base, that is going to swing these moving averages. You'll find a bit of chaos as you try to get through the 155, but then that should materialize, and then you should see a crossover and these things pointing up to the upside. That's kind of the view I've got. We're starting to group here on the 8 hours, so I really can't see us dropping below this area unless there's a big catalyst today. So in other words, some big negative noise that comes through. That's the only thing that I can see right now that would drop below this. So treat this as bottom of range for now, specifically on the 8 hours. So when you're down at the lower time frames, you need to have your wits about you and not try and chase the shorts at the moment, because the bigger time frame saying don't do that. What you want to be doing is seeing where the opportunity comes to move to the upside, because it could be an explosive move as well. Okay, anyway, that's enough for me. If you don't have the time to sit and trade a 5-minute and 15-minute chart, then you need to sit back and wait for the break above yesterday's high. Wait for that to turn into support. May not happen today, may only happen tomorrow, and then that would give you the opportunity to trade on the hour. Okay, so anyway, that's kind of my view today. I hope it helps, and we'll catch up with you tomorrow morning. Cheers for now.